This video is all about how to create a transaction within ReZEN, or Real Broker's platform that we tell Real essentially that we have business coming in, business occurring. So a transaction is different than a listing. On the left here within the ReZEN platform, we see that we have different subcategories or sections. So this, what you're looking at, is my dashboard. And yes, there will have to be some information blurred out for privacy reasons. And these are real transactions, so you won't be seeing private information. Below that is my inbox. So this is where I can chat with my managing broker, chat with the transaction team about different deals going on. Here's my transactions and here's my listings. So listings and transactions are different. Listings are, you can put a property for sale. That's where you put your listings in. It doesn't mean that property will ever sell though, of course, right? Perhaps market conditions, it doesn't sell. Transactions are now where that listing has changed from just a listing and offering for sale to now we have an accepted offer in place. That's a transaction. So I just happened to get an accepted offer on a listing. So let's tell ReZEN that we have an accepted offer on that property. If you go into my transactions, it won't be there yet, but on the top right here, we see add a transaction. So that's what we want to do. We can also though do that within my listings and find our listing. So we see I have 28 active listings at the moment. So I can find it, I can search through it, or at the top right here, I can just type in the street name and it'll come up. So there is that active listing. I can also click this eyeball here and now it goes into that listing. It can show me all my listing documents, but from right here, I can also click mark as in contract. So essentially you have two different options. You can find it from within my listings, mark as in contract, or secondly, go over to the my transactions section and click add a new transaction. We're already here. We found the listing. Let's just mark it as in contract and go through the steps. So I click it and it says, we'll start a walkthrough to create a new transaction based on the information from the listing. So first off, it says here, well, what's the address? That's correct. This is the address that I already told ReZEN was the listing address. So it's already been entered. It already knows the MLS number. Now it automatically entered in the list price for what the transaction price is to be, but perhaps it went into multiples and that went higher. Perhaps you accepted a lower offer. So this might have to be adjusted. Next off, you have to tell it how much money is being paid to the listing side of the commission and to the buyer side of the commission. So I'm just going to check that really quick. Okay, so that does happen to be correct. But again, if you accepted an offer at a lower amount, that might have to be adjusted. Now, this depends on the province, the state that you're in. How will this transaction be paid? Single payment, multiple payments? This is a single payment. Now it wants the acceptance date. So I'm going to check the contract and keep that off screen, of course. Okay, I'm going to enter in the acceptance date and the closing date estimated. So I'm going to be checking the contract and again verifying what the closing date, what the completion date is, and put that in here. Okay, so now I have all this information in correctly. I'll click the next tab. Now it asks, is this transaction conditional? Are there subjects on the offer? Yes, there are. So it asks a few questions like, well, is there a financing condition? So again, I'll check my contract to ensure if there is or if there's not. And if there is, I'm going to enter the date for that financing condition. Do they have a property inspection? Yes, they do. It happens to be the same date. Sale of buyer's property doesn't apply. I'm going to leave it. Condo documents doesn't apply. Are there other conditions? Yes, there does happen to be. So I'll just click that. And then we'll go on to the next screen. Now, seller. So here's the seller's information. Again, because we already had a listing and it had that seller's information, it just grabbed it from there. I don't need to touch that. Who is the buyer? It doesn't have the buyer's name yet. So I'm going to grab the buyer's name from the accepted offer and enter it here. Now it defaults to just one buyer name, but there happens to be two. So I'm going to click duplicate. And now I have two buyers on the screen here. So because I click duplicate, it's their names both times. So I'll just change one of their names. And I can enter in sometimes email or phone number, but I don't know. They're not my buyers. I don't represent them. I don't have that information. So I'm just going to leave that all blank. I'll click next. Now here, this is very specific because I have a team and this individual, Cam, works with me on my team. So he generated the listing. He filed it into ReZEN, even though it technically is my listing. but it shows him as the owner of that listing just because he uploaded it. But nevertheless, commission amounts and pay structure, that can all be figured out later. So we'll click next onto the next tab. Now it asks, who's the other agent representing the other side? So who represented this buyer? Is it a real agent or is it someone from another brokerage? So in this case, it's someone from another brokerage. So I'll be putting in their first name, their last name, their email, their phone, their brokerage name, and their broker's address. So bear with me. Okay, now I have all that information inserted. Let's just click next to the next screen. Do I have to pay a referral for this transaction? In this case, I do not, so I'm going to leave that as no. Now, here again, I mentioned that scenario how Cam uploaded this as his listing. I'll just be adjusting all of this information later on. Is this a personal deal? No, it's not. Are there any additional fees or rebates? No, there's not. Who is the seller's lawyer? I don't have this information yet, so I'm going to skip. Who's the buyer's lawyer? I also don't have this information yet. Now, to whom should the commission documents or invoices be sent? I'm going to click seller's lawyer, but also I don't have this information yet. Later on, once subjects are removed, we'll figure out who the buyer's lawyer is, who the seller's lawyer is, and then I'll enter it into the transaction. Now here we can review and make sure we didn't make any mistakes. We see the address, we see the sale price, the commission amount to the listing side, the commission amount to the buyer side. We can see that there are conditions. We have the seller's name, we have the buyer's name, we have the buyer's agent's information, and we'll just create that transaction now. It says create a transaction. You'll be able to edit any information once this has been created. So yes, that's what we will be doing. Now that we've done that, this transaction will show up in the My Transactions list. And also it's important that in this checklist section, this is where you click and you see it asks for the contract for purchase and sale. I'm in BC, so we have a disclosure to sellers of expected remuneration form that has to be filled in. We see all these blue required sections. I have to upload all these. Some of them are gray, so they need to be uploaded if applicable. For example, an assignment. Is this being assigned? No, it's not. But if it did, this is where I'd upload it. Now I can click this upload button here, or I have a folder with all these documents and I'm just going to drag them in. So that's what I'm going to do quickly. Okay, so I put in the contract for purchase and sale. Now here's the disclosure of expected remuneration. Now in this one, it just so happens that I don't have the property disclosure statement or the title yet signed by the buyer, so I'll just leave those blank. But now we see if I go back to my transactions list, the transactions will appear in the order of completion. So this one completes the first, followed by the next, the next, the next. So depending on the calendar, I have to go down to when this one completes, and I find it down here. So that's it. We have successfully created a transaction from an active listing. We've told Real within ReZEN, our online platform, that we have this transaction in place. Within the transaction, I'll keep Real updated. If there's an addendum that comes in, if there's a price change that comes in after an inspection, I'll just update the price there. There's a comment section where I can tell my managing broker what's happened. It's how we communicate back with the brokerage about what's happening in our business. If you have any questions, make sure you do hit up the help section. So right here, if you Google Real Broker Help or Real Broker Support, this is the site that you'll come to. You can search for it. You can look through all the topics here. You can, of course, ask Leo through our brokerage. Feel free to reach out with any questions also, and I hope this helps.